It has been quite the journey on the Warlock, and now it is simply time to wrap up another character's leveling campaign. And of course, we gotta do it in style. Transmogged out the Queen Warlock herself and her partners. It's just time, family. Let's get it done, shall we? One more time. Kicking it off with a badass dungeon, Strathhome Undead Side. Y'all know I love me some good Strath. I love a good Strath run, so let's just go ahead and get it. As we always do, but welcome everybody to Let's Level Every Class, the World of Warcraft series, featuring our Warlock, Madness Warlock, Seon, and her partners in crime, our Imp Bros slash Oregojin, Felguard, and just a bunch of demons that we just keep summoning. So, what are my thoughts and opinions on Warlock? Also, my apologies if my voice sounds pretty cracked at the moment. Unfortunately, it came down with a little bit of just a tiny little bit of a sickness. Hoping this clears up within a week or so, prior, just before midnight comes out, because that's where my focus is going to be, or a lot of it. A good portion of my focus is definitely going to be there. So here's hoping that the T and the rest are going to do their job. But what did I learn with Warlock, specifically with the Demonology tree? Now, Demonology, I think, is an all-rounder kind of specialization for Warlock. You kind of feel like a jack of all trades, master of none, better than most. I think the major weakness that I have with Demonology, or one thing that I can point out that I would like to see in the future, is simply put, I think it needs... I would love to see Warlock get more speed boost type of abilities, because Paladin has it, Priest has it, and a few other classes. I think even Mage after Blink, if you do your talents correctly, you get a small boost. I think after the first or might be the second Blink teleport that you can do. I really would like to see more mobility to Warlock. I think it's kind of just one of the slower moving classes, to say the least. But either that or just give him a blink. Just give him a blink. I know, I hate to reiterate myself, but I definitely think Warlocks can do really well with a blink to kind of give yourself better positioning out in time walking dungeons specifically, but just any other type of content, maybe even mythic dungeons or specific raids or any of that. Lack of mobility aside, I feel like Demonology and Warlock specifically is a very fun class to play if you can get with the vibe. To put it lightly, I feel like it's kind of one of those underwhelming classes. It looks cool on the outside when you see it, but when you actually start doing it, it's not bad, but there's a lack of pizzazz, there's a lack of flair to it. Specifically for Demonology, it kind of wears itself a little thin, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of feels, it gets a little boring on occasions. It's not as boring as a few other classes I've tried in the Let's Leveling series. It's definitely not. I would definitely rank it in the middle of the pack in terms of just fun and just utilization of talents. Is it fun to level? And that's going to be subjective to anybody. My version of fun with some classes is going to be completely different. I may say, just for example, Warlock or Shadow Priest could just be boring as all heck, but that might be somebody's favorite class. That might just be it. Warlock, it's a very unique taste, I'll be honest. It kind of reminds me of Warrior. It is a very, very specific niche, and it has a very unique flair to it that is only going to really garner the attention, especially for from a longevity standpoint. It's definitely unique, but it takes a lot of getting used to, and you have to like it. This is a class that I feel you really have to be down with it, meaning that you have to be down with summoning demons, or the affliction spec, or the destruction spec. You just have to kind of be in it to win it. I guess that's like the best way I can put it. Now, summoning these demons, it's cool as heck. Once you get to levels like the 70, 80, and you really start to experience just the madness that this class brings, it's really cool, because now you feel like, look at this. I can't even it's like I'm summoning like what, at least 8 imps, another demon on top of Wodagojin, and then another demon comes out causing an explosion against mobs. Like you can definitely pull some pretty good damage, or bursty type of damage, in my opinion. Like, you really can do it. Demonology is fun when you just can throw everything at the like, what is the old saying, y'all? The more spaghetti you throw at the wall, the more chances a noodle or two are gonna stick. That's exactly how Demonology in the endgame stages kind of plays, in my opinion. You just throw demons and just, hope. You just see the mob's HP just completely drain. It's cool, but the flavor kind of wears itself a little thin. Like, I don't know, it needs something. Demonology specifically needs something to kind of spice things up, and I feel like that's where it becomes a little bit lackluster. And I had this issue with Warrior and Priest. Definitely Priest, but Warrior just, was very, maybe not playstyle wise, but it's very, very similar. Like, if you, and again, I'm not a expert by any means on any class really, but just from my personal experience, I feel like Warrior and Priest share a very commonality, I guess. They share a lot in common with Warlock. That being said, Warlock's transmog game is unmatched. I'm gonna be honest, it is completely unmatched. Paladins, sit down, stand by, hold your tongue. I know what y'all are gonna say. Warlocks are undefeated. They don't have a single bad transmog tier. They don't have a single bad tier set. They don't have a single bad tier set. From going all the way back from tier 1 all the way up until this point. They are the one class that I swear, and I will die on this hill. They have nothing but S tier just transmog sets. I'm not kidding. That's just me. Again, I'll die on that hill. I'll take the fall for it, but I think Warlocks are just the kings of style. Kings and queens of style. They just don't have any bad drip. They really don't. Warlocks also have quite a few races that play into the lore aspect of the class, if you really want to go that far. Forsaken Undead specifically, I mean, that's just like the most iconic Warlock in my opinion. But you can do it on, I believe, humans, orcs too. I think orcs would probably be the second most. But I'm really glad I did it on a Nightborne. Honestly, I was really struggling to kind of find the right race to play with this class. But it all came together. I'm gonna be honest. Nightborne Warlocks, very underutilized. And in my opinion, I feel like it, obviously a Nightborne mage is the go-to de facto standard, but I feel like changing that whole theory and swapping it to the dark side, so to speak, it played out pretty well. And again, just the transmog, combining it with the transmog sets, it's like, dude, looks really fantastic. Obviously, final boss here, he's just going down like crazy. Like, look at this. This dude's not even, no chance at life. Look at the numbers. Gosh dang. Dude, Rivendare was just like in one corner. He didn't know what was in him. He's just like, gosh dang, what is going on here? So what could I improve on? Now, there's a lot that one can improve on, and I try to learn something new with every specific character that I ultimately end up leveling. I definitely next time will go for a little bit better theming Ultimately, with this character, I focused on the Arathi Highlands, which wasn't a bad choice by any means. It's kind of one of those underrepresented and underutilized zones specifically for leveling, but it worked out really well, and the pacing in that zone is actually pretty good for questing wise, and it's been a while since I got to focus on questing in a classic oriented zone. Now, obviously being a Nightborne, I could have done the Legion-based zones, but I ultimately chose not to, primarily because I was burnt out from doing it with the Demon Hunter, and we explored a lot of zones during the Legion remix campaign that I just ultimately thought it just felt like it would be redundant to kind of go back there as fast, you know? So that's pretty much the reason why I just kind of skipped out on utilizing any of the Legion zones. It just didn't feel right to me. But I'll say this, having done it off screen a little bit, I'll say that the intended initial leveling experience, specifically with the Exile's Reach, even though it was tuned recently, it still doesn't feel as natural as going to just the starting areas, specifically for a lot of races. Now, obviously, like Lightforged Draenei and Nightborne are going to be different because, yes, you start in the major home city of that race, but you can pretty much just jump into the classic zones immediately, and it still feels a little bit more natural. But they're kind of the outliers. What I'm trying to say here is that Exile's Reach was in consideration, however, it's just kind of all over the place. Like, you complete it and then you immediately go to Dragonflight, which to me is just polarizing. It feels much better to go back into just level in the classic-based zones. Now, moving forward, I'll try to focus on what zones that do the theming and the lore aspect of the class and the respective class and race combination, because this one kind of felt a little bit off. It kind of felt like a little bit of a last minute decision. It worked out, but I definitely feel like I could do it a little bit better and just put more emphasis on the class itself, as in like what zones work best for leveling a warlock that may not be Legion or expansion exclusive. Like, you know, try to be more free form in the leveling experience and just try to, you know, pick a zone, quest in it a little bit, go to a different zone, you know, just try to find zones that I can kind of work to maybe not necessarily interconnect as free flow, you know, just interconnect. I'm repeating myself here, but yeah, I think that's one thing I can do a little bit differently. And obviously, I definitely want to delve more into this class the next time around. I really want to explore Affliction and Destruction. I really want to see what those talent trees are all about, as well as bring the Demonology back into the fray with the experience that I'm building off of. You know, now that I have the experience with Demonology and I know what it's about, I definitely want to see what the other two are and kind of go from there. I will say this, Warlock does do very well in a lot of different team, how's the term here? Different, it just has a different synergy with a lot of different like class groups for like dungeon group content. Holy crow, let me get my words straight here. Group-based content, Warlock kind of fits, again, that jack of all trades kind of deal. It definitely feels unique in this approach, where it's one of the classes that definitely feels unique and it kind of fills the gap, but it works. And one could argue that, well, any class works because of the homogenization of classes for the most part. You know, we're about to go from the War Within, Ghost of Karash, and straight into Midnight, so we'll kind of see how things plan out. But honestly, Warlock does very good in a lot of different group based content, in my humble opinion. So yeah, if there was anything I would like to see for Warlock in the future, it would definitely be a little bit better mobility options to kind of play around with. But other than that, like I said, and to reiterate myself once more, jack of all trades, master of none, better than most. You definitely can fill the gap in terms of whichever group synergy based on, whatever the group core is. You definitely fill in quite the gaps. It's a fun class to play, especially for Demonology. I definitely learned quite a lot. It just gets chaotic. I mean, if that's your flow, or if that's your ebb and flow, it's chaotic. It's totally chaotic, but it's quite the taste. That's for sure. It's definitely quite the dish, so to speak. It's definitely got its desserts, for sure, but it's fun. Definitely give it a shot. Definitely try it, especially if you. Oh, shouts to my boy Gazrilla right there. Love it when we get to go fight this guy. Love it. But yeah, Warlock was definitely a fun experience. I'm looking forward to testing it again or re-rolling it again in the future. Probably not with a Nightborne this time. I love how I'm the only one in the water. It's like the rest of my group just doesn't give a dang. They're just like, screw that. We're gonna burn down the boss soon anyway. It doesn't really matter. But it may not be a Nightborne the next time, but it was definitely a fun experience. And next time I'm definitely gonna do things a little bit differently. It's very specifically with the zones for questing. And it's definitely going to be a different race, just to follow a little bit better lore slash theming, and maybe that also make it a little bit, give it that extra little kick that I needed to. I'd put Warlock kind of in the middle of the pack. Like if I did a tier list, it would definitely be somewhere in the middle of the pack. I wouldn't put it too high and definitely not too low, but it's an acquired taste, that's for sure. Void fam, I cannot thank you all enough for y'all's support from the beginning of this season one, this series, this crafted theory, this concept as a whole. I really truly cannot thank y'all enough. Y'all's support has been amazing. This wraps up season one. I didn't get to do Evoker. I really wish I could have squeezed the Evoker in, but hey, you know what? That's what a season two could be. That's what season two could be all about too. I didn't forget about Evoker. Didn't forget about y'all. It's coming. It'll be coming along with a whole new batch of characters, a whole new freaking batch of characters and class and race combinations that I'm really excited to showcase. I have the blueprint down. I kind of have an idea of which ones I want to tackle first and go from there. Now that I have this blueprint from season one, I'm really expecting myself to kind of build on the momentum that I've already established and just, test some new things out, keep the flavor unique every time, and I'm really excited for it. I hope y'all have been enjoying the series. Again, my apologies if I sound like a croaked frog. Came down with something, kids in school, wife gets it, and eventually it comes down to it comes down to you. But y'all have been amazing. The support truly means the world to me. I kind of treat every time I log into Azeroth, I treat it as therapy. Being a first responder, a first responder and a father first and foremost, I just don't get a lot of free time to myself, and times do get stressful, but it's all been amazing. It's all been incredible. It's such an incredible experience to me to come back to this game after so long and being able to share this experience, share in the journey. So season two is going to be really good, really amazing. I'm really pumped for Midnight. I hope you all are too. But I'm going to be taking a break now that season one is wrapped up. Definitely going to be taking a break prior to Midnight to kind of reset the clock a little bit. Resident Evil 9 is coming out. So as a kid who grew up with the Resident Evil series, I'm pretty much obligated to play the latest. So that's probably where my focus is going to be off screen. That and myself and my little family might actually be on the cusp of home ownership soon, so that's also pretty exciting news. Never thought it would happen, but here we are. Y'all, Thank you so much. Thank you for the support for season 1. I'll see y'all in season 2 with a whole new batch of characters, whole new batch of class combinations. Y'all are gonna enjoy it. And let's have fun. I'll catch y'all in Azeroth. Take care. Have a wonderful week.